guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side girl, and today we're going to be doing my August reading wrap up. Please excuse me if you can hear the rain noises. We're having a rainy weekend and I'm so excited about it because it's been so dry for so long, but there's like little drippy sounds in the background. This is your last video where you don't get to see my shelf decor yet, and the next video, which should be coming out tomorrow, will be my decorating my shelves for Halloween video, and then after that there should be a ton of videos coming your way, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to check out the announcement for Not So Scary-a-thon, which is my fall Halloween themed readathon, where we read like lightly Halloween themed books, nothing too scary. And for now, we're going to talk about the books that I got to in August. So I had an amazing August reading month. It started off so good that I almost thought that I could do 30 books in 30 days. And then the last week or two, I kind of petered off because I was listening to some bigger things and stuff like that. I think I did around 12 to 13 audiobooks and I did 2 physical books. Wasn't the best physical reading month for me, but I had such a good audiobook month. And August tends to be my worst reading month usually because I get like allergies and our house gets hot and I just kind of get like all in a funk, but I did really good this year, so I'm really proud of myself. So the first book I physically read was Lock and Key. This is a graphic novel, so this is the first one. I'm reading the second one right now. This is written by Joe Hill, who's actually Stephen King's son. I've never read anything by Stephen King because I keep saying like I don't like true horror, but this is like a young adult graphic novel and it's based off the TV show, which I really enjoyed. I didn't know there was like a graphic novel attached to it, so I decided to check it out. The TV show is very fun and it's just very lightly spooky, like hardly at all. Premise is that there are these 3 kids and their dad dies and they have to move to like his old family home, and there's all these mysterious things and like mysterious keys and people and things happening. So basically there are all these like different keys that open up different doors and do different things. It's really cool. The graphic novel is a lot darker, which I kind of expected, but I still kind of liked it and I'm doing okay with it so far. It looks like way out of my comfort zone, but it's doing okay. I'm reading the second one right now and I'm really enjoying it. I need to watch the second and third season of Lock and Key. But yeah, this is probably like a 3.5 star read. Then I physically read Cold Spell by Jackson Pierce. So I finished this fairy tale series and I'm so excited about it. It's part of a 4-book fairy tale series. First one being Sisters Red, which is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. They're all modern. They all have way different twists on the stories. The second one is Hansel and Gretel. Third is Little Mermaid, and this one is actually the Snow Queen. I thought it was Snow White, but it's the Snow Queen. And I highly recommend reading them in order. They all follow different characters, but they all kind of interconnect, and there are so many things that from the first couple books that happen in here, and even though you're not getting a ton of the characters, there's a little bit of crossover, and I think you'll enjoy them so much more if you read them in order. So this is the final one. I super enjoyed it. I think the second one is my favorite, but I really enjoyed this one because it's the Snow Queen. It has all those like wintry vibes, which was really cool, and I was hoping that the ending of this would kind of pull a little bit more of the other stories in. It didn't, but I still really enjoyed it. This is like my favorite series I've read this year so far. They're just really fun. They're really well written and unique, and just if you love fairy tale retellings, I would definitely check these out. Okay, now for the audiobooks. I will put the narrators right here for you guys. I always like to credit the narrators. So I did a giant buddy read of Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff with a bunch of my friends this month. Now I finished it like the 4th of September, but I'm putting in this video because I finished the majority of it in August. So it's not going to be on my August wrap-up photo, which you'll see at the end, but I just wanted to include it in here while it's still fresh on my brain. So this is an adult vampire series. I really enjoy Jay Kristoff's Illuminae series, Aurora Rising, and the first book in the Nevernight. I need to finish those, but I really enjoyed it. Nevernight is a lot darker, like how this one is. The rest are nothing like it. So this is definitely very adult. There are lots of sexual themes. There are lots of like foul language. It's a little bit crass. Personally, I wouldn't recommend this for young adult. It's very dark. So this one's not scary at all, which was nice to know because I didn't know how scary it would be with vampires. You're basically following Gabriel and he is recounting like the tale of his life, and he is part of like this brotherhood destined to like defend the realm from vampires. There are all these different types of vampires in here. It's got like a Game of Thrones almost style to it, where there's all these different styles of vampire monsters and different things happening, different realms. There's a lot to do with like religion and things in here. This is written really well. I understand why a lot of people are going to love this book. However, it has a lot to do with like religious tie-ins and there was just a lot of crassness with the language, which I don't always love when like all of the characters are like that, which I felt like majority of them were in here. They were just like always doing little quips and things to each other. I don't know. I need some diversity. And then there was definitely quite a bit of sexual things in here. Not quite as much as I expected, but there was definitely like some scenes in here for sure. And it was so incredibly long and I felt like not much happened. He's kind of recounting his tale of his life, so you're getting a little bit more of a slow burn, lots of world building, which is always good, but I just didn't feel like connected to the characters until the very end. Like the last like 4 hours of this like 26-hour audiobook were really good and I really enjoyed them. But I don't think I'm gonna read the next book in the series because it just was so incredibly long, and it was just like, I was trying to listen to a couple hours every day because I couldn't really binge listen to it. The narrator's actually really good, so that helps. I'm really sad because this is like such a pretty book. It has all these, I mean, look at that. That's so beautiful. And I think a lot of people are going to love it. And for a lot of people, this will be a 5-star book. For me, it was just like more of a 3.5 as far as enjoyment goes. I feel like I didn't probably grasp a lot of the information because there's so much. Definitely take your time with this one. I don't want to scare people off too much, but I think I'll probably will unhaul this because I'm not going to read the rest of the series. Okay, so that was what I read like over the course of the month. But I started off the month reading this beautiful trilogy, and I got the full trilogy done in like 4 days. I'm so proud of myself. So I read Otherworld a couple years ago, so these were all on my unfinished series list. In case you aren't aware, I'm on a big kick of trying to finish up series this year. I spent most of the month reading books that I need to finish in series because I knew once fall hit I was going to switch to like all fall style reads and probably start a couple more series. So I was really good about finishing quite a few things, and this was one of them. So I reread Otherworld, and then I read Other Earth and Other Life. These are all by Jason Segel and they're narrated by Jason Segel. So this is a virtual reality style book. So we have main character and he's in this virtual reality world, and then in the real world something happens to one of his friends and he feels like he might be able to like connect with her in this virtual reality world. It has a little bit of Ready Player One vibes, but not really. It's totally its unique thing. It is so fun. It's got its whole like fantasy world in this other world. There's like goblins and orcs and all kinds of things. It's got a lot of heart to it. You fall in love with the characters. Even if you don't like video games, highly recommend. I don't play video games, but I really enjoyed this full trilogy. I thought it wrapped up beautifully. It just has all those cool futuristic vibes about it. I just thought it was so much fun. And they're really short audiobooks. They're like 7 to 10 hours. So I just blew through this whole thing. So enjoyed my time. They were probably all about 4-star reads for me as far as like enjoyment and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just loved it. I'm really proud of myself for finishing another series. So partially what I did this month is I would like finish a series and then I'd read like a standalone. So the first one I did was Hotel Magnafique by Emily J. Taylor. So this was actually a birthday gift from my brother. He got me the Owl Crate April box and I finally got to this one. It was one of like a couple new releases I've read this year. So this is about like this magical hotel that guests can go and stay at, and there's all this like magical whimsy behind it, and our main character and her sister get hired on to work at this hotel, and while they're there they kind of uncover all these secrets about the hotel and how it works and the people who work there. So very much kind of Carval vibes, like very heavily at first, except for the romance is in here, but there's not a lot of it like there is in like Carval. I definitely thought it was its own unique thing. It almost had like a cruise ship vibe because the hotel kind of feels like it's traveling. I thought it was really fun. I liked the magic system. I liked ending overall. I think I gave this 4 stars. It was just a really fun, quick read. Definitely don't go into it for romance if that's your vibe because there's not much in here. But I love the sisterly bonds and all the mystery behind the hotel. This would be a good one for Not So Scary-a-thon because it's basically a mysterious house. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Oh, and the narrator for this was excellent. I really liked her a lot. Okay, so then next up, I listened to Dead Tossed Waves by Carrie Ryan. So I actually have a funny story about this. So I got the first audiobook for Forest of Hands and Teeth is available like through my Overdrive in my library, but I couldn't find the audiobook for this one or the third one. So I was really not wanting to physically read this one because I knew I had to read the next one too. So I just Googled like Dead Tossed Waves audiobook to see if I could like purchase the CD for cheap somewhere or find it through Scribd or something. And Google has this cool thing where it pops up, it shows you like Audible, Google Play, like all the places you could buy it. And then if you scroll down or if you go to the side, it says available to borrow in your area. It actually popped up at one of the libraries that's near me that I didn't have a library card at and said they had the digital audiobook. So I actually was able to sign up for a digital library card through this library that's like one town over, and then get the audiobook for free, which is great. Not all libraries let you sign up if you don't live in that town or county. Most California libraries will let you get a library card as long as you like live in the state, and some of them will even let you do it from home, like digital library card, which is all I need because I use like Overdrive and Hoopla mostly, which are all apps to get my audiobooks. And so that was really cool. So I wanted to share that with you guys so that if you want to look for audiobooks and they don't have them on places, you can just type it in and it will show you if there's one that you can borrow in your area. So I did the audiobook for this one, narrator right here. She is not my favorite narrator, but she's doable. So the first book in this series follows different characters, and then this is more of a companion, and I believe it's set a little bit more in the future, so I knew we were going to be getting different characters. What's interesting though, because I'm reading the third book now, is that the characters from here are in the third book. So while the first one is technically its own thing, these next two are not, which I thought was kind of a weird choice. I felt like they should have all connected together or all not. But anyway, I think I almost enjoyed this one more than Forest of Hands and Teeth because it's a little more fast-paced, there's a little more action, a little bit more drama. So basically in Forest of Hands and Teeth, it's like post-apocalyptic. There's been like a virus and we basically have zombies, which they call the unconsecrated, and they kind of barricade themselves in this fenced-in area, so it's almost got like a village vibe. We basically have to like hand pump water and all this stuff when we don't have like a lot of the modern technology, and like there's this big fence and there's like this wooded fenced area, which is kind of cool. So like outside you can like go out, but it's still like fenced off. It's like a fenced off walkway to go a little bit further. And so most of the characters in the first book like have no idea what's happening in the outside world. They don't know if everyone's dead, which is kind of what they think. And it's not really a scary series. The second and third one are a little bit more that way, but it's a little bit more about like relationships and like surviving and all that kind of stuff. So this second one is in a different area of the world, following different characters, and I just feel like it had a little bit more of a plot. We got a little bit of a twist in here. We got a little bit more into the world, so I'm liking the second one better. I think I gave it 3.5 or 4 stars, and then I'm finishing up the third one now, so trying to wrap up this series. So next up, I'm trying to wrap up the Cirque Du Freak series. So I finished the third one in August. I was hoping to finish a couple more, but I only got to this third one. I absolutely love this series. It's a middle grade series. It's following a boy that goes to like this spooky type of circus with all these weird creatures and things, and he winds up becoming a vampire's assistant. So each book kind of has its own plot, and you're kind of following him along as he's like being this vampire's assistant, basically. The narrator for these is absolutely amazing. He is so good, like one of the best. And I just think this series is great. It's definitely creepier and spookier than you would expect for a middle grade. If your middle grade kid likes a lot of like darker topics and you can't find it in the middle grade books, check this one out. I still am like really enjoying them. They're very fun, and they're only about 4 hours, so you can go through them really quickly. It's a 12-book series, so I'm trying to wrap up a couple every month. I'm really loving it. It's just so much fun, and there's all these different plots that happen with each book, and they're definitely very dark though. So this is probably a 4-star for me. Then the next series that I wrapped up is The Last Life of Alistair, Prince Alistair by Alexandra Bracken. So this is part of a duology, a middle grade duology. First book being The Dreadful Tale of Prospero, which is basically about a young boy who finds out that his granddad made a deal with a demon and he has promised him his soul, and so he has to like work with this demon, which kind of shows up as like a fox, and learn all of these things about like the underworld and all this kind of stuff. In this one we're in like an underworld type situation a lot more. I so enjoyed the first one. That's one of the best like Halloween style reads. Definitely lighter and not as creepy as like Cirque Du Freak. It's just really kind of fun. The demon is like a fox type character, and he's really snarky, and he like fights with the boy a lot, but in like a cute way. So this second book was really good. You get a little bit more about the family ties and kind of what happened, and you're like in the underworld. I don't want to say too much because I'll give away the first one, but I super enjoyed it. The narrator for this one is really great, really fun, and I'm glad I wrapped up this series. This was also a 4-star. Okay, next I want to talk about Hide by Kirsten White. This is one of the new releases / standalones I wanted to get to. I was so excited for this one. It was supposed to have like a haunted house amusement park vibe about it. So basically this one is set in a abandoned amusement park, and there's like a game, and people have to go and be contestants to like survive the night like stay there and survive the night and not be like found, I think is what the deal is. You basically are playing a large game of hide and seek, and so if the creators like find you, then you get kicked out. So you usually find like 2 people per day, and so you have to decide if you want to team up with people. Slightly Hunger Games vibes. It's such a fun premise, but this book is very dark in like emotional way, because you're following all these characters and everyone doing this challenge has some kind of really dark and haunting past that's following them. And so for me, there was a little bit too much backstory on the characters, which I find a lot in my survival reads. They are heavy about that kind of stuff. And we've got like 12 characters, I think, in here. And I just felt like it was just too much because it was a short, like 8-hour audiobook. And we're getting all the past from all these characters. And then something starts happening that makes the game seem more real and dangerous. And you're trying to figure out like if they're being hunted or what's going on. I liked the twist of what was happening to them a lot, but the overall story was just very, very dark and depressing, and it was kind of a letdown. So I think I only gave this one 3 stars. The ending was good. I liked the twist. If you're in the mood for like a quick audiobook, you could still check it out, but wasn't my favorite. Then I read Fable and Namesake. So I finished this duology. I started Fable last year. I finished it last year, but I wanted to reread it to refresh my brain. We have a little bit of a swashbuckling adventure with this story, but I don't believe that they're actually pirates though. They're just like on a ship, so it has a lot of nautical vibes. We have Fable, who is basically left on an island by her dad, and he took off with his crew, and she kind of had to find her way out and then figure out why. I really like this duology, but for some reason it didn't like fully connect with me like it has for other people. This was still probably like a 4-star read. I thought the romance was cute. I did enjoy the second one. I liked a lot of the characters. I love when we have like a rowdy crew. Our main character is very feisty and very fun. There's like a slight magical element to it. She has like a really cool skill. I liked her relationship with her father because it was very tumultuous, and it was really fun to read about. It has like a lot of vibes that would be good for like Mermaid Marathon, but I didn't quite ever like become 5-star obsessed with it like other people have, but I still really, really enjoyed it. And the narrator does a really good job with these. Okay, next up I did The Infernals by John Connolly. This is the second book after The Gates, which is a trilogy. Again, a middle grade spooky trilogy. The first book is set on Halloween, and we have our main character who is I believe a 12-year-old boy. He goes to his neighbor's house and finds out that his neighbor has opened a portal to hell and has released all these demons and spooky creatures, and he's got to figure out what to do about it. He has this really cute dog named Bosco, who's a side character, and it's just really, really fun. Again, one of my favorite reads for Halloween. These books are really funny because they have these little footnotes, and so it'll like intercept information. So you'll be like looking at a painting and it will like give you a little footnote about the painting's author or like how people feel about paintings. And it's really quirky and funny and kind of wacky. Really good middle grade book, not scary at all, just really fun. We've got really funny like characters in here. The second book I didn't like quite as much as the first one, but I still really enjoyed it, and I probably will read the third one at some point. Just a really good series for Halloween. And the narrator for The Gates is absolutely fantastic. He's so funny and quirky, and I love him. And then lastly, I finished the Devouring Gray, which I reread, and Deck of Omens. So this was a fun, again, kind of spooky duology. I kind of dipped my toe into the spooky reads from my unfinished series list by the end of the month. The first book, The Devouring Gray, is basically there are these people living in like this southern town. They have this like creepy woods that's around them. So you have this town that has this secret about these woods, and there are all of these kids, and they're kind of trying to figure out what's going on with their parents. We've got our main character, I believe, just moved to the town, and she's kind of solving the mystery of what's happening because everybody seems to know something that she doesn't. And yeah, it's just got this like almost Stranger Things Scooby-Doo style vibe about it. We've got a creepy magical woods, people destined to like save the town, and different abilities, and it was really good. I'm really glad I reread it because I did not remember very much from the first time that I read it, where I was kind of on the fence, but I really enjoyed the duology as a whole quite a bit. I had just come off a major Stranger Things binge, so I think that helped as well. But yeah, it's just really fun. It's a good read for fall. Definitely has the darker vibes without being like scary, so again, good for the readathon. And it's another series that I finished. Yay! Oh, and the narrator is pretty good for these. Not my favorite, but still decently good. Okay, you guys, so that is everything that I read for August. I had a great reading month. I'm hoping to have an even better September and October as we jump into all the fall vibes. I did quite a few in August, but we're really gonna go for it in September and October. Stay tuned for all of the festive and fun videos. Be sure and follow me at The Bright Side Girl on Instagram for more bookish and non-bookish content and all the fall Halloween vibes as well. Here are the audiobooks that I read for August. I did pretty good. I'm pretty proud of myself. And then here are the physical books. Here is my status for unfinished series. Doing pretty good. I was hoping to hit that halfway mark, which is about 23. I didn't quite get there, but I definitely will get there by the end of the year, which was my entire goal. I'm just trying not to add too many new series because I have to add them to the list. I'll explain more at the end of the year when we go into all that nerdy bookish details. So let me know how you did in August. Let me know what your plans are for September, and I'll see you guys next time on The Bright Side.